Hello, one. Hello, all. Welcome to this June 7th through 9th edition of Show Business. As always, I am CP.
And I am Dino of the Late Late Horror Show.
And I'm Lindsay of My Two Cents and Nonsense.
And joining us, I think this is the Show Business record for guest appearances. Fuego of Fuegotainment and the Horror Show. Fuego.
Yes, very pleased to be having some of this palaver stuff with you guys, all about the moving pictures and whatnot. It's always fun.
Moving pictures and whatnot. That's what we need to change the show name to. So quickly.
Dang it, why'd we go with Show Business?
Moving pictures and whatnot.
Moving pictures.
To the weekend that was, first place was The Secret Life of Pets 2 with 47 million.
Mm-hmm.
Second was Dark Phoenix with 33 million. Third was
boy.
Aladdin with 25 million. Fourth was Godzilla King of Monsters with 15. And fifth was Rocket Man with 14. Thoughts? I mean, there were projections where Pets was supposed to take first, but it wasn't supposed to be this easy for them. I'll open it to the floor. What is it? A little surprising that Dark Phoenix really wasn't that much competition.
Wasn't surprising for me, but go ahead.
I mean, like, there's just been so much bad press about this movie. It's been reshot twice. I mean, at least twice, right? I mean,
the whole ending was reshot. Yeah.
Yeah, they said it was too similar to another movie, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, actually, definitely. Avengers envy. That's going to be a thing going forward. Psychologists are going to be talking about it. I bet.
Don't want to ruin the relationship with the new boss there. That's for certain.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
The new boss, same as the old boss, you know. That sort of thing.
Yeah, great Who reference right there. Yeah, but no, the great way you pass off to your new boss to make him really happy with you is by having Mystique look like she's in a stage production from high school of Dark Phoenix. I just couldn't. I can't get over that. Like it was.
Get over here. You need more paint.
Seriously, like you just look at pictures of her from this one and compare it to the last one, and it's just it's night and day, man.
So I think it was Red Letter Media that said it that they had a theory that for the paints for the makeup scene she might have had a stand-in.
It's possible.
That is simply a theory. I'm going on secondhand knowledge, not even.
In the last Pirates of the Caribbean movie, Johnny Depp had his lines fed to him in a microphone. So, I mean, or an earpiece, I mean.
Oh.
So, who knows? Honestly, did you guys catch the really bad dub line moment with Jessica Chastain towards the end of the movie?
No.
She was the worst part of the movie in my
estimation. Was very
bad.
Really?
She was just absolutely terrible in my estimation. They didn't really give enough explanation as to, the Kroll or Scree or whatever the hell they were basically trying to be exactly like, which I'm sure lots of
they look like Groot when they're not in their disguise.
Yeah, which was also funny.
Yeah.
I see Brie Larson's taint is back. That's interesting.
99 cents in the super chat on YouTube. Thank you so much. Nothing
Thanks,
to say,
Brie.
but 99 cents.
Yeah, I didn't hate this movie, but as I said last week, and I think, Lindsay, you were echoing some of the sentiments, I feel like it was a big mistake not calling it X-Men Dark Phoenix. I feel like that did hinder some of the marketability, and the fact that overseas in Europe and stuff, they are calling it X-Men Dark Phoenix. I don't know.
They are.
They are. I saw the posters. So
Interesting theory.
I was under the impression people didn't give as much of a crap about this series, but then again, Logan did almost 100 a couple of years ago, so I don't know. Maybe it is just people like Wolverine, and it's been a tough sell, even First Class. Maybe it wasn't as much the taint of Last Stand and Origins. Maybe it was the fact that it was not a Hugh Jackman Wolverine-centric film, and that was the same with Apocalypse, that also underperformed.
Yeah.
Nowhere near as bad as this.
I have it up in the news that Dark Phoenix did win the international box office. So
it did quite well, actually.
Perhaps that X-Men name, but kind of clinging to what you were talking about for a second, I'll have visual aids for the YouTube group. Dark Phoenix is the lowest opening weekend of any X-Men film by $20 million.
Nuts.
From like 2 to 12, it's the Wolverine has 53 million. X-Men, the original X-Men, and this is all unadjusted, mind you. It's 53, 54, 55, 65, 85, 85, 88, 90, 102. and we lead it off with this 33 anomaly, and I get what you're saying about that X-Men name, but is the Wolverine name really that strong? Logan.
That's fair.
Logan.
Yeah, I mean, calling it just Logan. Yeah,
Right.
maybe you're right, man.
I mean, it did. Just to throw it out there, it did make 3 times as much where it was called X-Men compared to where it was just called Dark Phoenix. 103 million versus 32 million. That's 3 and some change times more. So I mean, but I'll just throw that out there as just a mathematical counter. But
Sure.
you are right that Logan did. I mean, it did pretty good for itself.
Logan made
considering it's
88
called Logan.
its opening weekend.
Yeah.
That is
Again,
a
the
big number.
factor, the Jackter, as I'll call it. So,
Yeah, and the two highest grossing opening weekends for X-Men franchise is Deadpool and Deadpool 2. So no X-Men name there. Although I mean, technically, it's kind of unfair to count them in the franchise. Like it's this really it's quite an interesting thing to see. I'm curious to see with Adjusted, because X-Men being the third lowest with 54, I'm pretty sure, that's a 20-year-old movie at this point. So I sincerely doubt it'd be that high on the lowest opening weekends. But it's like you said, it pulled in what, 102, 132 internationally, Lindsay?
108?
Sorry, 103,
All right.
almost 104.
So it's 136 worldwide.
Yeah.
Which that's
Wonder
not,
how many screens that's on.
Yeah, so that includes the American box office, then, right?
yeah,
It
one,
does, yeah, the 136
Right.
does, yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the North American. Yeah. Now, so did everybody see it? Dino, did you see it?
I did not see it.
No.
I heard so many bad things that I couldn't get myself to go do it. So
Yeah, it was brutalized on Rotten Tomatoes, like absolutely savaged. And I didn't find. I mean, maybe going in with low expectations, I actually had fun with it. It's not up there and anywhere close to an X2 or Days of Future Past or anything, but I had more fun with it than Apocalypse personally.
No, there's a lot to like in this movie, actually. As bad as some of it is, and this is a very obviously Simon Kidberg being. No, guys, I could tell a great Dark Phoenix story. No, hold on. Okay, so first of all,
he's like, give me another chance.
yeah. It's weird, and like there's so much taken from X-Men 3 too, like the weird disintegrating everything, and like I bet if you play them, like one here, like one at the same time, they will not match perfectly up. They won't, but there'll be a lot of moments that happen at pretty much the exact same time, and they're pretty much the same moment.
They're a Venn diagram.
Yeah, they really are. It's very odd.
so was the action pleasing to the eye in this film?
Some of it's not bad. Yeah.
When it's there, okay.
There's not much. There's depressingly little. And there's obviously stuff missing too, because like in the trailers, it's like Jean moves her foot, and the car crashes into the car that she's in crashes. I don't want to say what specifically for spoilers, but that's a shot in the trailer. But that's handled very differently in the movie, and that shot of her foot is nowhere in the movie. So you can feel the reshoots just by watching the trailers lazily. You feel the things that are missing. So as much as good stuff as there is, it's also just hacked to pieces and nothing.
Yeah, I did feel a whole bittersweet aspect though at the very end I mean, not to spoil, chess game at the end. And I was like, I've been watching these movies in theaters for 20 years, and it made me sad because it's very much with Disney taking over the property and everything. It was very end of the era, because we don't know what's going on with New Mutants, if it's going to get dumped on Hulu or if it'll even ever see the light of day. So this felt like the end, but such a sad swan song and just very lackluster, unfortunately.
There's beats of it. There's beats of it that are same song, second verse. It's like you said, the chess game, like the
that's right. It ends with the chess game in the X-Men 3.
Right,
oh, it's true. It's true.
There's a bunch of things that happen in this movie that like it's like, oh, where have I seen this before? Oh, right, this franchise.
Yeah.
Like this is bad horror franchise stuff that they the crimes that they commit in this film, and you guys talking about Jessica Chastain, Jennifer Lawrence, I felt.
Well, yeah.
I don't know if there's a lighter way of saying mailed it in, but she had her assistant mail this one in. I just read every ounce of her not caring every second she was on the screen.
It was
and there's
it was
even that.
palpable.
Yeah,
I thought she had her moments, a couple little just like shining through. Not like Oscar-worthy Jennifer Lawrence good, but like there are moments where like, oh, you cared there,
Really?
but you're not caring now. It was weird. It'd be like a blip.
I had this. I had a flat line for her. It was just kind of I don't care. I'm arguing. I'm gonna have the cringiest line of 2019. Congratulations.
Yeah,
That's
man,
really
why do I
hard
have to keep doing this? I don't want to keep calling the lady power moments in movies cringeworthy, but they're
Go ahead, Lindsay, Mr.
Jeez.
Ultra left
Yeah, I
wing.
heard that.
Tell us how great
Should be
the
calling them the ex-women.
Ugh.
okay. Just
Yeah,
who I
what's
am
the
as a-
scene? Bring it up, because I think Brie Larson has a somewhat executive producer.
Hold on, I'm just gonna
credit
get personal
in
for
this
a moment.
movie, probably.
I'm just gonna get personal for a moment here.
Okay,
I was
go.
raised by a single woman who was an absolute badass.
As am I.
If you look at my family tree, I am related to huge figures in the suffragette movement that got women the right to vote. Look up Emmeline Pankhurst. I am related to her. They reference her in Mary Poppins.
That's why what Brie Larson is doing to the cause.
No, it's not
is
Brie
so
Larson. No,
awful.
it's not. Brie Larson is fine, but I just hate the fact that like, can we just have? I don't know. I just want it handled with a fine comb. It's handled with a sledgehammer.
So again, Lindsay, without outing
Yeah.
you, but you're
No, I'm out. I'm triggered.
I'm out, baby.
as,
I'm out.
as the predominantly left-wing guy in this group here, and you know, I don't know if that's something you don't want out there, but I mean, for you to say this,
I'm a little upset by some of the stuff going in the chat. I'm not going to call people out right now. I'm just going to throw that out there. Just again, I am pro lady, but it's cool. But go ahead, throw me your thing.
Yeah,
I am too.
Right.
I'm not pro Brie, but
right.
whatever.
So
Right. What's that mean? Okay, go on.
You can recognize that there's just no place for that shoehorned nonsense. There's a line where, and this is first act stuff, so it's not really a spoiler. There's a line where Jennifer Lawrence says, "You guys are lucky. It's been women that have been saving your ass. You might want to think of changing the name to X-Women." And there was an audible gasp in the theater, and it's just like, guys, what are you doing? What is this?
Kinberg wrote that line, so you're just like, oof.
Yeah,
and it could have been good. It could have been clever. All they had to do was not say women.
Wait,
okay, go ahead.
50 years from now, they're going to be talking about this in history books about what Brie Larson did to women's suffrage.
I
was going to say Larson and Brie, Brie Larson and Jennifer Lawrence will like fist bump in the green room when they see each other at one particular point. Like, just like, God, you did it, yeah.
But okay, the line in this movie, it could have been good. The fact that they say women twice in one sentence, it's not, because it's not only is it forced that you're doing this, but you're doing it badly because you're saying woman twice in the same sentence. You know how you do this line, but you do it good? Hey, it's kind of funny that the women are saving the men all the time around here. Maybe we should change the name and just walk out with a mic drop. But the fact that she has to be so explicit about it, it's just like, oh, damn you.
The problem with that scene, with that line also is, but 10 minutes before that, Nightcrawler's running around saving everybody. So what the hell is she talking about?
Like, he does a lot of the heavy lifting.
Yeah, that line is shoehorned.
And everything. Like,
there shouldn't be women in film. That's all.
Okay.
It should all be men in drag.
You know what? Actually, just animated asexual animals.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Dog movies. Nothing but dog movies. The driving in the rain, the dog's purpose. Let's just fill it with all that.
All dogs.
Well,
that's the end of dogmocracy right there. Go ahead.
I mean, speaking of a woman that I don't think mailed it in, though, I really like Sophie Turner as Jean Grey. And I don't even watch Game of Thrones, so I don't
Sophie
have that
Turner.
affinity and connection. Yes, no, ditto. But I actually thought she was the best part of the film, and she handled a lot of the heavy lifting very well. And it's just a bummer that this iteration, where one of the only things I liked about Apocalypse was the new kids from Ready Player One and Sophie and stuff, and the new Nightcrawler. I don't know the name of the actor, but I liked him. Storms, she's okay, but I like those new kids, and so the fact that this iteration is over with that recasting is kind of a bummer for me, because I dug her in the role specifically.
So no, I agree. It's been fun watching Sophie Turner grow up on Game of Thrones, and really she's quite talented. I can't wait to see like what her big Oscar or run in movie. I'm not saying she'll win, but like what her Oscar run movie is going to be. I think that could be something kind of cool.
Yeah,
it's coming.
Yeah, it was better than the Mother of Dragons being in Terminator. I thought I was much more just impressed with Sophie in this role. So
I agree. Yeah, no, and I don't know. How do you guys feel about what's his name, the Ready Player One guy, Ty Sheridan?
I don't like him
Lips?
very much.
Do you mean Lips?
Yeah, Lips.
Lips.
Talking about Red Letter Media cast for the lower part of his face because his eyes are always covered.
Red Letter went after some of my Collider people just recently. I'm not sure if you've watched.
Oh yeah.
Twice,
boy, was
twice
it,
in a
boy,
week
was
they did
it, boy, was it funny.
That sounds good. That sounds good.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, no, it's just sad to see that this is the ending note of this chunk of X-Men, like, because it was the 1, 2, 3 of Blade, X-Men, Spider-Man that got to us where we are with our superhero renaissance, and just this, and Spider-Man's always struggling. Blade went out without dignity, although at least it's gone and doesn't really seem to be coming back anytime soon. But X-Men to go out with a whimper. Oh, wait, are they talking about doing a new one?
Snipes, since he got out of prison, has not shut up about it, man. Like, he wants to do another Blade movie.
I heard that too.
Mm-hmm. Of course he does. I mean, he's got to pay some bills. He needs a big paycheck.
3 was so bad, but boy, those first 2 are awesome.
Yeah. You okay, CP?
Sorry, I had to act quickly because I had there was a limited standing room only to seated opening for Toy Story 4's screener tomorrow, and I couldn't get it done in time. So that's what I was doing. I apologize, guys, because I don't get Disney screeners ever. So.
I have a funny story about screeners.
I better laugh. I better laugh.
Yeah. Oh, it's quite funny. It's quite funny.
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I meant for the end, but screeners that like the Oscars and SAG send out, for voting purposes for awards, you're supposed to destroy those. I mean, people hold on to them, but they're coded to the people that they're sent to, and if they're found in someone else's possession, you're in trouble. I was at Goodwill yesterday, and I found a bunch of those screeners.
Oh
no way!
Like dozens.
Well, so to just wrap up about X-Men really quick. Again, I don't think
great story, Lindsay.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, thank God you didn't save it to the end. And good night, folks. There's that. I don't know if people like. It can't be a spoiler because if you've seen Apocalypse, you know this. At the end of Apocalypse, she is full blown Phoenix.
She's pretty Firebirdy,
if I'm not mistaken.
There's a lot of Firebird going on.
And then they kind of reset, and then she's full-blown Phoenix for the first time in Dark Phoenix. And like I said before, this is very Friday the 13th. I know we did this before, but we need to make it work because movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, and there's so much timeline, just, misconstruing crap since Days of Future Past anyway. So it's like, whatever, Yeah, I don't think X-Men has really ever given that much of a crap about the consistency.
Yeah, it's 1992 because reasons.
And yet, unlike Days of Future Past and Apocalypse, they didn't embrace the decade like you thought they would with the costuming and all that stuff. Like they made it a point to make these decade by decade, and then this one didn't really show much for it at all. So
I haven't seen it, but oh no, I was just going to ask you guys what you thought the reason behind this being so bad is. I mean, everybody just mailing their performances in, bad writing.
Yep.
The studio's just not caring anymore.
Yep.
All of that.
Yep. All of the above.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I think this was a movie that was just too far along. Too much money had been spent on it to just kill it. It just like it was too much of a write-off to not finish it, and so they finished it just in
It's a 22 on Rotten Tomatoes as we speak.
Yeah. It's pretty right. I mean, again, there's some great moments in it. Like this, I laughed a couple times. I really liked the fight scene that was down on the street. I thought it was really clever the way that they interacted with the world around them, and the way that they used a little bit of teamwork. And Professor X got into some of the teamwork a little bit. Like he was wrapped up in a thing, but also kind of helping out his buddies too. Like that was kind of fun. And the train, like the whole movie, Storm is just not being Storm and has all these powers that Storm doesn't really have. But then at the end, she does like the stormiest thing ever. And I'm like, oh yay, there's Storm. I'm really happy, but I wish it happened sooner. But yay, it's happening now. But what was really funny is like X-Men 3, the best part about it was the fight at the end where all the X-Men are fighting together and using their powers together. And I thought that was going to happen again here because, it's the same. But no, all the X-Men are fighting on their own. It was very odd. I don't know. This movie's an enigma.
Yeah. And there's very...
Not like LaQuisha.
Yeah, different kind of enigma.
That's a flat zero, and you understand why it's a zero.
Oh, boy.
So there's two very similar scenes from Dark Phoenix and The Last Stand. Go figure.
Yeah.
I know it's shocking. Where they're kind of squaring off at this house, and I felt the way it was presented in Last Stand was a heck of a lot better, where it's all these cop cars pointed at this one house. I don't remember the shot incredibly well, but I remember not thinking much about the rest of the neighborhood. The way, everything was on screen really had you focused on this one house and what was going on between the X-Men and the cops. Whereas in a very similar way, something similar happens in Dark Phoenix, and you're kind of like at the bend of a street, and it's just in the middle of this neighborhood. And, I guess...
Very ugly neighborhood with a lot of industrial stuff going on, like an electrical power plant, a lot of power. Like, maybe that's why Jean's a mutant. She got exposed to radiation.
and like, nobody's home. It's just a really interesting mise en scène, to use a film school term.
Fancy boy up there.
Which is going to say, digging deep.
French
got your tea sitting in front of you, sir?
Which is a French for put in scene, which is, what you're looking at, everything that's in this shot.
I love it. Keep describing it. I love it.
Oh, wait, talk more, CP.
Yeah. And tea would be for the British, not the French.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, coffee and cigarettes.
Yeah.
Espresso.
French.
Yeah. Together.
Yeah.
Good movie. I really love it.
And so there were a couple of cute little references in here too, like with the scene you're talking about. If the background of the maison scene, when the industrial area, there's an electrical truck, and on the truck it's Bishop's Electrical, and it's in so many shots. I kept being like, okay, guys, yeah, it's there, we see it. And then later on, there's like these people that are fighting the mutants that have like MCU written on them, and I'm assuming it's Mutant Control Unit, but still, I'm like, that's cute.
And
oh wow, there's like a lot of it. Okay, that's
they're holding the mutants back. That MCU.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's right. The MCU is coming in and wrangling the X-Men and taking them in by force and stunning them. Oh.
Yep, Disney with their crazy financial takeover or whatever the hell you classify this. So I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead.
This film did have kind of a more personal, like, smaller touch to it, I think, than Last Stand. Last Stand was like so overstuffed the turkey with characters and all of these different, small bits for all of these, different X-Men and mutants and whatnot. But this one did feel a little more contained and personal, as far as even like the end fight scene with just a few characters at like the construction site, whatever spot. I don't know. I felt like Kinberg was deliberately taking a different approach, even if, as CP said, he did recycle a lot of the beats. The way he framed them, I thought, was in a more personal manner. So, maybe that was his deliberate way of distinguishing. But, I mean, still a great film neither of them made, unfortunately. So,
I have a great analogy.
Go ahead.
So my writer buddy and I were talking about, and this guy actually gets some work. We're about ideas we had. And I was like, I've got this one that I've kind of always struggled with, but I think I've gotten a way to approach it that'll finally work. And he just kind of sat me. He's like, have you ever tried to add a tomato to a panini after you've pressed it? Yeah, and I think that's what's happening here. Like, Simon Kinberg had a chance to tell this story, but he didn't put the tomato on the panini before he pressed it, and now he's got a chance to put that tomato in there, but it's too late, and so it just feels like just a mess of a sandwich that with some good moments in it,
with a big tomato on top.
Exactly.
Red all over.
Yeah. So. Last week's big winner. Oh, so I wanted to ask you, Fuego, if you had to go back and watch a movie tomorrow, is it an easy choice for you between Last Stand and Dark Phoenix?
Once again, like I just said, pros and cons between the two of them. I enjoy some of those personal moments between Funka Johnson and Hugh Jackman, where she's where she's first embracing, and I like where she kills Scott. I feel like that scene had some moments.
Sure.
Honestly, if I'm going to revisit an X-Men movie, I'm not going to revisit either of these.
Well, no, you have to, or else I'm shooting you in the head. So pick one.
Proverbial headshot. You know, I really don't like Brett Ratner, and
wow, that much. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, well, I did the first two Rush Hours are okay, but I think I would revisit this one over Last Stand.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, I think I would.
I would
by a very slim margin. Okay. Very slim.
See, me, like the one thing I said, and I think I said this with Cody over on his channel a couple of days ago. It's easy for me. I don't like Last Stand, like at all, but I'll take that, 9 times out of 10 over this movie, just because, yeah, it's not great, but it has a certain bit of more to it, and it doesn't feel as amateur-ish. I don't know. There's a bit more fun to it. It's not so vanilla, I guess is the best way to put it. There's
vanilla as in the oh goodness, what was the name of the director? God damn, it's totally eluding me at the moment.
See? You're proving my point.
Yeah, I know. And yet I'm a big fan of so much of Darren's other stuff. So, I even like Mother, but whatever.
Oh, Darrenovsky?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In X-Men 3, it does have Juggernaut. It does have I'm the Juggernaut.
Bitch. So what's cringier, that line or X-Women?
X-Women is how it was written. If they did it the way that I say they should write it, where they don't construct their sentence like a poopy brain idiot, it could have been okay. But the way that they did it, yeah.
And the way they get their R rating is kind of. Oh no, not R rating. Their one F word. Excuse me.
Dropping their F bomb.
Their one F word is a little winsome.
Ty Sheridan is not ready to be the one F word guy of the movie he's in. He's not there. He might be one day, but he's
the lack of Wolverine is.
That's what I was gonna say. Let the X F bomb be first class, which is just tremendous.
Yeah.
And,
that's the only thing that got it an R rating, huh?
No. F-bomb? I messed up. What I meant to say
PG-13.
was they used their one F bomb on.
Got you. Okay.
On a really wince-worthy line.
Okay, my mind was going everywhere there. Whew.
So last week's big winner was Godzilla, and it kind of skipped down all the way down to 4th.
Later, guys.
It's bad. I don't like that movie. It's
terrible. It's a waste.
It's a really bad movie.
It's a waste of an hour and 45 minutes. And then the 15 minutes. Next, I would tell everybody, make sure you come in about 20 minutes before the movie's going to, be done and end, and you'll enjoy it.
I still have so many friends and fellow critics and people that I look up to in the YouTube spheres that had so much fun with it and have just praised it for the positive things that it did, like the creature action. And they're like, I don't go into this to have interesting people. And I'm like, but the people are even duller and dumber than in the Gareth Edwards that we all hated on so much.
Yeah.
Character motivations are as mind-blowingly asinine as could be imagined. It's just, man.
It's terrible. Yeah. In my opinion, it's a disaster.
Well, Cecil was big for this movie, right? Cecil
loved it, dude. Yeah, he thought it was great. He thought it was everything that he went in hoping for and expecting and wanting. So,
yeah. I think the interesting thing about this movie is, for as much... This reminds me a lot of Force Awakens, Last Jedi. Here's my my Star Wars reference. Everybody hated how samey Force Awakens was. You can't say that about Last Jedi. You just can't. It's not samey. So everybody's complaints about Godzilla 2014.
It's just like Empire Strikes Back. It just in reverse because you got the walkers doing the thing at the end. It's in the beginning. They win.
But yet, The Last Jedi didn't feel like a Star Wars movie to me in tone.
No. It wasn't samey. At the very least, you could say it wasn't samey. So Godzilla 2014, the big thing was, well, you barely see Godzilla, and it's just constant. I don't want to see these people talk. So, cue Godzilla, King of Monsters, and it's Godzilla and a whole bunch of monsters, a lot.
A lot, really?
There's something happening.
There's quick glimpses of the monsters, but then quickly to the characters. I mean,
I don't think
I wasn't impressed with that. No, and even the shots of Godzilla swimming under the water. You the suspense of him coming real close. I'm not giving nothing away, but none of that intrigued me. What intrigued me with the monsters was the last 15 minutes, the action, the fight. I enjoyed that very much. Everything else, okay, so they're showing where the monster is without giving anything away, underneath the ground, whatever. It's just a picture. I mean, ugh.
So actually, that ability, or I don't know, it's a spoiler to ask. That ability that Godzilla uses at the end, is that a common ability that he has?
I think that's one that has been used in the past.
Yeah, I think Cecil confirmed it when we were doing our review, because I honestly wasn't sure either. So.
Yeah, because it wasn't any of the ones I watched as a kid, but it wasn't that weird Godzilla anime on Netflix that I can't decide if I liked or not.
Yeah, which I never got around to watching. I was curious. I mean, I thought the animation looked good.
Yeah, it's totally worth watching. It's an okay movie, a forgettable movie, and a batshit crazy I love it movie. It's weird. They're worth checking out.
And don't they jump onto like a different planet with like all these different big kaiju creatures and stuff? And
I don't want to spoil it, but it is about humanity like abandoning Earth, joining up with other aliens, and then finding ways to deal with Godzillas. It's worth checking out. I'll say that much. Yeah.
I don't think King of the Monsters is quite Pacific Rim level as far as getting this scale right, but I think if there is something to compliment in that movie is the scale and like, you know. It's there's not much to compete with when you're talking about
last 15 minutes. History.
Yeah, no, you get the feeling that it's these giant monsters, you know,
it's beautiful,
just tiptoeing across cities, and at the very least, there's that. So it got me thinking and looking into the franchise because I don't remember where I read it. You know, it's doing just fine internationally.
Oh yeah, 216, I think, which is mind-bendingly good. 260. Actually, it's exactly 216 million. Not even $1. It's literally 216.
Yeah,
$1, Bob.
I have the worldwide gross for King of the Monsters at 295. I don't know if what you're looking at has counted.
Or what? Yeah, worldwide 294 and 50.
Yeah. So that, I mean, the top 5 all-time Godzilla movies with worldwide gross is Godzilla 14, 529, Godzilla 98, the Matthew Broderick one with 379, King of the Monsters.
Great soundtrack.
Yeah, sure.
Good.
Yeah, King of the Monsters, which is 295, that'll probably pass 98 at the very least. Shin Godzilla, which I think was exclusively in Japan or very ultra limited here, that's 78. Godzilla 2000 was 13. And then as far as domestic gross is concerned, Godzilla 2014 was 201. Godzilla 98 was 136. King of the Monsters is currently at 78 after only 2 weeks. And then Godzilla 2000 is 10 million and Godzilla 1985, 4 million. So you look at those numbers and, you know, America isn't really rah-rah for Godzilla. So is there something to be said for that?
Like, well, there's always the possibility, like the subconscious psychological, like, oh God, Godzilla's us. I don't want to watch this.
Yeah, perhaps, yeah, because it essentially is based off of Japanese hysteria about being nuked. That's what the original was made for.
And rightly so. I mean, they
all
got
post World War II, man.
Well, and you see it like even years later. Like what is it? Akira. Akira, Akira, yeah, thank you. Bad at pronouncing stuff, I apologize. That's what Akira. That is about, you know, like, I mean, it's not explicitly called a nuke, but, you know, they're talking about this big explosion thingy being this creation of the universe, blah, 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 blah. It's there. And same thing with a lot of other animes, like another famous one, Evangelion, which was the guy who made Evangelion went on to make Shin Godzilla. So there's a lot of... It's very tied into their culture and their pop culture.
So I guess my question is, you know, knowing that the ceiling's kind of low for the Godzilla franchise, and it's going to cross 100 million, and worldwide it'll probably get to about 400 million. I read a couple places that the sudden drop to 4th has all but nixed the Godzilla King Kong movie.
It's been pushed, or it's been, I guess it hasn't been officially announced as pushed back, but there's been a lot of talk online about it having been pushed back.
Yeah, lots of reports they're going to try to put it somewhere where they think it's safer and can have the opportunity to, make a ton of money as opposed to competing with all these other big budget franchises. So give it a little more breathing room, so to speak. So
what if this is just if you've seen the Red Letter Media review, what if this is just one of those movies that's okay? What if this is just an okay franchise? Stop expecting $1 billion out of these things, and what if they just lower the budget and say, all right, you know what, let's hope for 300 and take what we get.
That would be the smart thing to do. Like look at the new not the Pirates movies, the Planet of the Apes movies. They never made billions of dollars, but they were incredibly successful and they were great movies.
Yes. Yeah, and the budget got cheaper and cheaper on every movie thereafter. So
and they used that little budget that they had each time very cleverly. And because there's something to be said for having a budgetary restraint, and you have to use interesting practical effects as opposed to CGI to wallpaper over everything.
Well, and even Pacific Rim finally got its sequel because of all those international numbers and the fact that, unlike home media and stuff, it made like just enough. But the number that I look at is the fact that King of the Monsters is still not even at the opening weekend of Gareth Edwards. That was 93. And this one has only made 78 in its second weekend out. I feel like waning interest big time, man. And maybe just poor placement. Maybe this film would have done better earlier, like around like a late February, early March release or something instead. Maybe April. I don't know. But
what if it's like ends up being like the reverse Annihilation? So like they'll put the next one out on like Netflix or something like that here in the States, but do it global let it have a serious run at the theaters internationally.
Or reverse Shin Godzilla, where I think that's only recently been released on home media here, although it never really had a strong, if at all, theatrical release here. So maybe internationally / Japan, they'll be like, yeah, no, we'll pick it up from here, and if you guys want the leftovers, by all means, we'll take money.
It's interesting.
It's just interesting that you look at the numbers for their franchise, and nothing really jumps out at you that you would make you think, oh yeah, this is a cinematic universe here. So
I think we're a King Kong kind of country.
Well, Lindsay,
and that's the one I had the most fun with. I really liked Skull Island, man. I thought Skull Island was fun.
Lindsay,
whereas this one, it was like just dumb enough, whereas this one was like uber dumb, and it was just a little too much on the nose.
Kong also has a lot of interesting stuff going on underneath the hood, like comparing like man versus nature story to something like Vietnam, a pointless war. Like there's some commentary in there. It's a clever movie. And fun. It's a very fun movie too.
Yeah, so Kong Skull Island worldwide was 566.
Ooh, give me that.
Worldwide for Kong Skull Island, and again Godzilla 2014 529. Kong Skull Island did slightly better. As far as the King Kong series, load faster, please. The 2005 King Kong was, I think this is domestic. This has to be domestic. It's 218. Kong Skull Island was 168. King Kong in 76 is 52, but 52 by 76 is numbers. That's a lot higher. 1986 gave us King Kong Lives with about 5 million. Yeah, and a worldwide unadjusted 566 for Skull Island and 550 for King Kong 2005. So like I think the issue here is the cap really is $500 million.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I saw this. There was this stupid article a few weeks ago going around Twitter that was like, Avengers Endgame, financial disappointment. It's $50 million away from being the highest grossing movie of all time. It's a financial disappointment. I'm like, frick you. No, it's not. I'll censor myself. You're welcome, CP. And it's that mindset that something didn't make absolute astounding over the top money that no one could have predicted makes it an absolute failure is something that's really hurting the video game industry right now. So like I do not want the film industry to adopt this mindset that everything needs to make $1 billion, because then you'll find out whatever the movie equivalent of microtransactions are. Yeah. And trust me, we don't want to find that out, guys. We don't.
Right. So to keep everybody up with the YouTube, every Monday night on Will Escridia, we have this live with visual aids. Top left corner there, Avengers is coming on. It's slowing down, but it's it's
almost
it's about 50 something million away.
Yeah.
And it's got 190 days to match Avatar, and it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Even if it takes a little bit and then gets another sudden surge from Spider-Man, Avengers will do.
Oh, that's totally going to happen, isn't it?
Right.
I didn't even think about that.
Captain Marvel
it's
got that boost.
whole epilogue. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be close,
so many
though.
people are going to go watch
Very
Endgame
surprising.
and then go watch Spider-Man. That's going to be a thing.
Yeah, so people need 327 million. It like for a weekend is just insanity. And you consider the fact that it was a 3-hour movie. Like, people need to relax. Everything needs to. It's all superlatives now, and it just needs to not be. So this weekend, oh boy, do we have contrasting movies coming out this weekend. So let me start with the limited release, because that was supposed to be a bit of a media, a critic darling, and it hasn't been so far. The Dead Don't Die is currently at a 50 on Rotten Tomatoes.
God, oh my God,
it is coming out. I forgot about that movie.
Yeah, limited.
Yeah.
I saw it a couple days ago, and it is garbage.
Oh wow,
garbage.
So bad. I was just I couldn't believe it, and I was just rewatching Only Lovers Left Alive with my girlfriend the other night, and I love Coffee and Cigarettes, and I like Deadman, the one with Johnny Depp, the black and white. I like Jarmusch quite a bit. This movie stunk. It had no business playing in this playground, and it very much thought it was funnier than it actually was. The humor doesn't hit. The deadpan acting of Murray and his chemistry with Kylo Ren, whatever his name is, whose name is eluding me at the moment. Adam Driver, I want to say.
Yeah. I call him Ben.
Damn.
Thank you.
I mean, Chloe Sevigny's in it. Like the entire cast is so ridiculously stacked in this, but the writing is just hammy. It's not funny. It's not.
I had high hopes for this film too.
I did too. I was very happy we saw it early, and yet Cecil and I just both kind of walked out of the theater like, wow.
I like zombie movies, CP. I don't know what the face is for, but I did have high hopes for this.
I smell
movie.
Dog shit is what this face is.
Actually, there is a dog behind you, CP. I was wanting to ask you about that. Like, no,
there's one underneath me, so I'm just. Oh no, what happened?
Wait, do you have a dog?
No, there's my downstairs neighbors have a dog, and
I understand. Oh, okay, I was about to say, oh wait, did I actually stumble on something?
I've certainly heard them before, but
Oh right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
okay.
the other thing that's coming out that apparently people are not going to see explicitly because a song isn't in it, which is the Shaft comedy.
Did they not? Were they not able to license the rights to the hell?
I don't know.
That's actually a thing. I thought you were kidding.
I'm not kidding. There was a bunch of tweets. So, I don't know what it was, but it's the equivalent of hashtag not my Isaac Hayes or just whatever for Shaft.
How do you make Shaft without that theme? I mean, that's kind of crazy.
You don't need to remake it. You just don't be an idiot and redo it like Ghostbusters. They just use the same theme. Were they not doing the same theme?
I don't think that's the reason people aren't going to see it, though. I think they're not going to see it because it looks like crap.
Yeah, well, some people are saying they're vetoing or what's the word I'm looking for? I'm looking for a word for
boycotting.
Man, why couldn't I think of that word? Man, it's getting dark up here in the brain. So some people are boycotting the movie simply because the iconic song isn't in this film, and I mean, movies are a lot more than a song. People are aware of that, right?
Yeah, I can't say I'm super stoked for it, but I like the Samuel L. Jackson one from 20 years ago or whatever, and I'm gonna see it. I mean,
20 years ago.
Yeah, it's like 98, I want to say, right? The Samuel L. Jackson one. So tomorrow night it basically came down to early screening of Men in Black or Shaft, and we're gonna go see Yeah, we're gonna go see Men in Black, but nonetheless, I'll probably use my AMC A-list for Shaft on Thursday night and do an Infotainment review. So yeah.
Fuego's gonna go for the Shaft.
Can't wait
this
for
week.
that.
You heard it here.
Yeah, I will take one for. Well, it's just for me at that point, you know. So nobody else has to suffer through the silliness. But
yeah, that's the other thing too. People are saying they're boycotting. Let me just try to remember that word now. They're boycotting.
Boycotted these days.
Yeah, right, exactly. And it's just modern culture, and it's a little silly. But
I got a boycott. It's hard to sleep on.
Well, it's the whole era of like, let's boycott. Let's sign the petition to remake the last season of Game of Thrones. Like, culture is really, as far as like film fans go, just
the internet is insane.
It's become to a silly rate.
Right. Yeah. Oh, we've put together enough money to remake The Last Jedi. No, you haven't.
And also because we have referenced Remake The Last Jedi, the current pledge total for Remake The Last Jedi.
Here we go. Let's hear the Monopoly money total for Remake The Last Jedi.
How many withdrawals?
416,781,240. I don't think they've had a donation in a while, or a pledge.
Go on, Disney, make that movie.
That much money together? That's insane.
Pledged. Not actually.
There's no physical, actual.
Right.
So ready, mark my words, guys. I will put $100 million towards that movie. There, now it's 516. Look at that. Hey, let's make movies, guys.
There you go.
I love Lamp.
Yeah, so people are saying that it's the song, but the fact that it's a little heavy on the comedy could be really, really distracting people and pushing them away. At least I would think.
It's a Sony movie, right?
Is that though? It's Paramount.
I'm not sure. I know Sony is Men in Black, right?
It is.
They wouldn't. I don't think they would do that.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, because they're both kind of. Yeah. Okay, I'm wrong. I'm a silly boy.
It's Warner. Shaft is Warner. New Line via Warner.
Okay. I was incorrect.
No, that's a good point though, man. Because of the fact that from those couple originals to even the one with Samuel L. Jackson, there was like Die Hard like action comedy type stuff, but this one feels like it's very much not taking itself seriously and very heavy on the comedy for sure. It's like, oh, Lady Chlamydia, blah blah syphilis, so on and so forth.
Yeah, like it's trying to be like Austin Powers or something. It kind of odd. Oh,
I do like seeing all three generations, so I think that's kind of cool. But
it's cool. It's a cool idea.
It's a novelty, I guess.
So,
but the fact that they're just calling it Shaft, I don't.
You don't like the Shaft, Fuego?
Well, it's just called Shaft again. Do I not like the Shaft? I see where you're baiting me here now.
Hey, let's watch Shaft. Wait, Shaft? No, Shaft. Wait, are we watching Shaft or Shaft? No, we're watching Shaft. But wait, but Shaft.
Let's watch an erect penis.
Yeah, do you like fish sticks? Yeah, I love fish sticks. Fish sticks are great. Anyway.
I got you, man.
What would assumed to be the heavy hitter this weekend is the Men in Black International.
How did Men in Black 3 do?
I can bring that up right now, actually.
I'm glad they're going international is the good part,
But they're aliens, though. What does it matter?
Well, exactly.
I actually like Josh Brolin in that third one.
He was the best part of that movie.
Yeah, he was.
He brought his A game, yeah. 624, that's not bad. Worldwide gross 624, opening weekend 69. Yeah, that's respectable.
Wait, where are you seeing 69 for opening weekend?
On Doop-de-doo, Men in Black 3, Box Office Mojo.
Really?
For May 25th to May 28th, 69,254,770.
That is a 4-day weekend.
It is. Yeah, so it's the 25th to the 27th. So 54. Okay, so 55. 55.
Interesting how those would be the numbers.
You are correct, sir.
Everybody at home relax. What you're looking at is legit. Lindsay was trying to give holidays away to Men in Black 3.
I love the first one so much. I just want to give the franchise a break, and I don't think this new one's going to be good.
Right. So what I have on screen, nobody sees us, are the numbers, the domestic, the worldwide, and the opening weekend for the series. And what's funny is opening weekends, again, 3-day weekends. They're all in the same neighborhood. 55 for Men in Black 3, 52 for 2, 51 for 1. The release dates, late May for the third one, and July 4th weekend for the first two. Those are solid days. It's kind of slightly, I don't know, puzzling, surprising. Granted, 1997, 51 million, that could be a lot closer to 100 in today's dollars. But domestic gross, you got 251 on the original Men in Black, 190 on Men in Black 2, and 179 for Men in Black 3. So what is
that's the most telling number, man, that last one. Yeah, the fact that when taking in adjustments and everything, 179 just a few years ago. It was 5-6 years ago, something
right,
like that.
Right. Yeah, and worldwide, completely upside down. Men in Black 3, 624. The first Men in Black, 589, and Men in Black 2, 442. And again, unadjusted. So I would assume Men in Black 1997 would be the highest grossing adjusted.
Oh yeah.
So
I'm going to say this opens up less than all three of those.
I would comfortably say 50 something.
48.
Uh-huh.
There you go.
Yeah.
This
45.
just looks like a plopper.
Oh, Brie Larson's
Brie Larson
in the super chat. Thank you, 199. Shaft 2 Cruise Control.
Mm-hmm.
And yet Speed just celebrated its anniversary this week, right? 25 years ago. I still feel that film holds up, man. I like Speed a lot.
It's a good film. Yeah.
I think this is going to bomb, guys. I think it's going to do maybe a high 30s. I think it's going to be kind of like I think it's going to be the Dark Phoenix factor. It's going to be the Dark Phoenix factor. It's going to make like 37 or 38, something like that.
Could be. You could be right. I mean, this.
So
thank you very much for that last donation, by the way. But to tone it down just a little, just a little.
They're having fun with their name. It's
totally. It's just that's all. Yeah.
We're good. We're good.
We're good.
It's all in
It's all
good fun. Even with the fact that Chris Hemsworth Chris Hemsworth, I would think, has a little bit more draw power than anybody.
Yeah, but I mean, how did the Ron Howard movie where he was starring in do? How is everything besides Thor that he's starred in? It hasn't really hit so well. So I mean,
that's fair.
I don't know if he's like when he's not in an ensemble or an MCU film of sorts, like. But perhaps I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think all the girls go crying and they say he's not Thor, and they cry the whole weekend, and numbers are down.
Yeah, I'm looking at all the Chris Hemsworth movies at the box office. You have to go down 6 movies before you get to a non-Avengers movie, and that's Star Trek, the one that he's barely in. And
oh, wow.
In the beginning.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he just turned down the 4th one where he
did
paired with Chris Pine, and he was like, nah, I don't really feel like doing this.
Yeah. And then number 8 is Ghostbusters.
I thought he was one of the funniest bits in that. His idiocy was really amusing.
If not the funniest bit of that, yeah.
Oh, definitely agree. But then you hit number 10. All right, number 9 is the last of the Avengers movies, Thor: The Dark World. But then it's everything else really isn't super great.
Yeah.
What about Vacation? Is that on there?
It's 12th.
Yeah. Okay. So even saying that, we're talking about a franchise where Will Smith, when he made this, the first one, again, opening weekend was 51. Again, 1990s numbers, but this is post Independence Day that he did that. So
he was Mr. 4th of July at the time. Yeah, until Wild Wild West, at least. But
yeah, well,
no,
Icarus,
Wild West.
Yeah. So what is?
I like the song, not the movie.
Right.
Is there anything that the franchise just isn't that strong?
It's based on a comic, right? If I'm not mistaken. It's not a super beloved comic, but yeah. I think diminishing returns because maybe everybody was so into Independence Day when that first came out, and then I think it was a year or two later that we had Men in Black, and it's like, oh, Will Smith and more alien fighting and stuff, and I think the novelty wore off perhaps as time went on, and without his star power isn't even what it used to be, except for maybe Aladdin overperforming a little more so than we anticipated. So I don't know.
And this is me totally overthinking it and being me and being a libtard cuck and all that, but If you overthink
lip
Men in
tart
Black,
cock.
I'll say it. I'm being a libtard cuck when I say what I'm about to say, but this is not the right political environment to release a Men in Black movie. It is about a rogue agency that answers to no one, that just pulls its guns out in the public and shoots, aliens dead on the ground that are just refugees trying to find a new home.
Oh my God!
Again, I'm completely.
Are we going that deep?
I'm completely overthinking it, but it's a weird time to release, the deep state fighting against illegal aliens.
To counter what you're saying, for at least the modern day,
Okay, District 9, this is not with like, okay,
right.
come on.
Right,
no,
but
you're absolutely right.
I have the feeling that Tessa Thompson will be the lead of this movie.
Oh yeah.
She's the J. Yeah.
If not the co-star, or I don't think it's going to be a. Is that me? What is that?
The government's coming for you because I said bad things.
Yeah. I mean nothing.
Well, she is the Will Smith character, right?
Yeah.
She's the one being recruited and brought in, and
so it's a female in a prominent role. So I'm gonna veto your issue there, Lindsay. It'll be fine. I don't think people are going to read into that. On their Men in Black movie.
It's there.
It's what I thought of when I saw this movie.
Well, the original movie is all about immigration. Again, if you you really think about it and all that stuff. So it's just funny. That's all. It could be a great movie. I hope it's great. I love the first movie so much. I would love to be back in a world where there's good Men in Black movies being made again.
Stop with the agendas in films, please.
Yeah. What is even the agenda? Does this mean Hollywood is pro deep state because they're the good guys?
Some of the best movies have agenda, though. So
subtly.
So that's why I say some of them.
Yeah, right. True.
Well, and a lot of people are probably banking on the fact that F. Gary Ray's directing this, right? And I'd Straight Outta Compton was fantastic as far as recent biopics go. I didn't see his Fast movie because I don't watch the Fast and the Furious movies, but
I mean, did he direct? I didn't.
The Fate of the Furious, if I remember correctly. I'm not sure which
last one. Ooh,
is that the one with Charlize Theron where people are saying she was or whatever?
It's Charlize Theron in dreads.
Really red.
And it's Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson moving a torpedo. With his arms.
Seems feasible. Sure.
I mean, are you saying he's not strong enough to do that, CP? Have you seen the size of his arm?
I was just making a declaration that is what happens in that film. I apologize for the spoiler, but Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Go-to scene, the one to watch out for.
There's also a scene in it where Vin Diesel's car is harpooned by a bunch of dudes, but he's still overpowering the people that he's harpooned by, and everyone's like, his car's got to have 2,000 horsepower. Nah, it's 3,000. Nah, it's 4,000. Nah, it's 5,000. I'm like, who wrote this?
God.
What is happening here?
Wait, were we talking about Dark Phoenix again?
I guess.
So some news in the movie sphere. Kevin Hart slated, and apparently they're in pre-production. Kevin Hart will be doing a Scrooged remake.
Yeah, let's remake that movie.
I'm okay with that. I mean, how many different? Honestly, how many different adaptations of that story have we had already?
Excellent.
In various iterations and stuff. And so,
how many have been good?
Most of
honestly,
them.
A Muppet Christmas Carol is my personal favorite. I will admit it. Michael Caine is Scrooge. Awesome. I love that movie. I watch that every holidays with my family. So.
Well, the best pirate movie before Pirates of the Caribbean was Muppet Treasure Island. So,
Yeah.
Love the Muppet movies. Mm-hmm.
Amazing. I even like the modern ones, but that's getting off topic.
So the Bill Murray Scrooged was, I don't think that was R, but it was pretty risque for PG-13.
It was a hard PG-13 for sure.
Yeah. What if they just go R with this? I mean, they may not do it, but Kevin Hart, I think he has done R-rated comedies and.
Yeah, no.
The one with Charlie Day, right, where he was in school. Well, I like that one.
Is that Night School? Is that what that was?
Yeah, I thought it was
Night School.
That was the Tiffany Haddish one. Oh God, it was like something fight. I can't think think of it. I would have to look.
Fist Fight or School Fight, whatever the hell that was called. Is that me? Is he dropping?
Yeah, he
Fist Fight. I was really and he talked to the audience at the early screening, and it was okay. It was okay.
All right. You dropped out for a second. Sorry for you.
Did I?
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. I think it's because I was trying to bring up the. I was actually trying to bring it up. No, it was okay. It was like fist something fight. God, I cannot think of it. It is. Totally
it's called Fist Fight.
Fist Fight. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It's literally called Fist Fight, right? I always wanted to see that. They actually look pretty good.
It was all right. Ice Cube and a funny cast. And I mean, yeah, that being an R-rated comedy, even though so much of his stuff lately has been like the safer, like the one he did with Malcolm's father and, the Night School, like you guys were mentioning. So he's been, and Jumanji, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I would like to see him go just balls out in an R-rated version of this. I think that could be fun. I'm not opposed to it. Even if I do really love Scrooge a lot, it's not my favorite adaptation of it. And,
we're still supposed to get a Jumanji sequel this year, aren't we?
December, I believe. No.
I haven't heard or seen or heard anything about that, but they are big dicking like putting that up against Star Wars like the last one did. So that's going to be interesting.
I had so much more fun with that film than I was anticipating. I thought it was going to be just trash, and I was entertained. So
it had some good moments in it, like when it was like playing with like NPCs stuck on like dialogue loops. That was awesome. I love that. Like,
Jack Black as a teenage girl hitting on the Jonas Kid was like some of the funniest stuff I've seen on screen in a little while. I thought that, hey, Spencer, and blah blah blah. Yeah,
explain what an NPC is, Lindsay. You nerd.
I apologize. In video games, a character that you interact with that is not controlled by a player is a non-player character, an NPC. And in a lot of games, like where you're going around exploring a world, you can talk to an NPC over and over again, but they'll just kind of say the same thing or the same couple of things over and over again. So it's really funny to see that realized in a movie where an actor had to play a character who could just say the same thing over and over and over again. It was fun.
So that was a funny bit, and it was with Murray from Flight of the Conchords. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah. That was my favorite scene in the whole movie. It was so good.
So Dino, if they were to change the rating of the movie, would you be a little less meh about a remake?
Yeah, I'd say an R would give me a little extra push to say, hey, yeah, I'll go see this. Especially Kevin Hart. He's a funny guy, funny comedian. So
because Scrooge essentially is like, for the time, it was a more risque version of the classic Scrooge story to begin with, and our brains are further rottenized here 30 years later. So why not take it a step further? I think.
Oh yeah, have them spewing off cuss words and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like The Godfather we're talking about here. This is a story that, I mean, hell, your local Playhouse is probably doing it this year. So it's not this.
I mean, I'd totally be down for an R-rated, just nightmare-inducing, F-bomb dropping, women slapping, slave owning, just totally inappropriate.
Wow.
Just, like not PC, but just like embracing that era and everything that it was, and
I just
all the weird things that went on back then. That would be amazing.
Yeah. And I would love it to be in the projects.
Maybe.
I mean, that would honestly, that would make it even funnier, I think.
I think it would be amusing to just see a completely turned on its head version, because everybody knows the Christmas Carol. Everyone knows. So let's get like the really screwed up dark version of it. Sure, let's do it. Like,
so like we have to have into the black comedy version of it.
Well, yeah, Tiny Tim, you would assume would be in a poor family, and yes, if you're leaning urban, I'll say urban. Sure. Projects, the ghetto, that is probably where you can get that across. It's
let's like make it a Candyman Carol kind of thing.
Yeah, and really cover Christmas from that perspective.
Also, lots of drugs. I want drugs. I want hookers. Wow. I want someone getting shot because they tried to skip out of their poker tab. Like I want Scrooge to be like a a crime lord who's like a pillar of the community, but he's also like an expensive lawyer. Like, just give me that like culture shock. Like,
give us a really different spin on it. I agree. I mean, totally do it different. I mean, that's what I want. So go with Kevin Hart, but put all those spins on there.
So I'll swing right back around and play devil's advocate for Dino. just how often are they going to keep doing these remakes and falling on their faces before maybe they start thinking, hey, we should probably do something creative and original? Because I'm looking at numbers for The Hustle, which, sure, they titled it something different, but it's 30 Rotten Scoundrels, and it didn't do well.
Oh, yeah, it's Steve Martin and more or less.
John Candy.
Yeah, it's John Candy.
What?
But this one's with women.
Oh,
different title. It's a different title. I don't know what you're talking about. So yeah, there's this. Overboard last year was rather terrible. I'm sure there's 2 or 3 others that I'm trying to think of a remake that has happened in the last 2 to 5 years that has really done well, and I'm
Suspiria.
Would you call that like a success?
It's a smaller indie house horror film. It was well received by critics and fans, so for that reason, I would say it was successful.
Yeah, it's successful, and you consider what it was going up against as far as mainstream success. That wasn't that hard.
Yeah,
I like the Evil Dead remake. I'm looking at a list of recent remakes. I like the Evil Dead
2013 though, right? 2013.
Okay, 6 years. You said 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought
I did give Suspiria a second watch, and I liked it much better on the second watch. But yeah,
it's a totally different movie. I mean, there's actual dancing in it. I mean,
right. Yeah, different take.
Yeah, Lindsay, are you scouring remakes?
I'm trying to find a recent good remake. It's I'll stand by the Jungle Book. The Jungle Book, took a movie that kind of had a nothing story and it did something with it. So that's something.
I guess Beauty tried the same, even though I didn't particularly love either of those. But.
Yeah, no, I agree. But they tried. I'll give them credit for that.
Yeah. So Disney's been in the art of doing the converted remake, and we've got a bunch of them this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so strange, guys, because I feel like how recognizable are some of these properties to the general public? I mean, like, how much does the average 20-something moviegoer know about Scrooged? And yet for them to go back to the well like this is, even if I'm okay with it, it seems a little befuddling.
Or even The Hustle and Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. How many people are going to know the comparison between the two movies?
That's like, I think that's dumb idiot studio mentality. Like, all right, it wasn't that popular, so maybe it'll be assumed as fresh. And maybe
it's like taking it's being lazy and taking the easy way out and just taking a script and working on it for a new movie. It's taking a lazy way.
Guys, A Star
That's
is
a good
Born.
point.
Now say who said it. Lindsay?
Several people in the chat.
I actually loved it too, and I loved it with Babs and Brolin, but it was way better than I was anticipating. Like, Bradley Cooper floored me with his performance in that film.
I haven't seen the original, so I can't say how it stacks up, but I liked it.
There's like 3 or 4 of them. There's the Hepburn.
What movie are you talking about?
Star is Born.
Oh, okay.
Credit to Brie Larson's taint for bringing that up in the YouTube chat. A Star is Born. Yes, that was an Oscar winner. The song won. Yeah, so it's an
the
Oscar
song
winner.
won. Yeah.
It was up for a bunch, and she won, didn't she? Or did someone else get it?
No, she won for song. She was nominated.
Yeah.
So there's one. But like that's one in a sea of perhaps dozens a year.
Well, I mean, I guess you could make the argument of all the good movies that come out each year, how many of them are actually good compared to how many there are.
I can argue better original films versus.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Versus.
Oh yeah, it's a shame the big studios don't take these unknown indie films and stuff like that and put some advertising towards it and stuff like that, because a lot of those movies are way better than the big blockbusters that are out there. So I hate having to search for them.
These nothing movies that don't get any push have ended up being some of the bigger, not bigger, but better movies. Mm-hmm. Like there's stuff like Good Time with Robert Pattinson for those who are worried about Batman. Good Times.
Look no further, man.
Yeah, that's a really good movie.
And A24.
Yeah, anything by A24 that's getting released these days is always worth checking out. I don't think I've seen a movie from them yet that's bad, and they're all originals.
Yeah, A24 makes horror seem like a complete anomaly when it comes to this issue that we're talking about with remakes, because A24 seems to have faith in horror. They're not risking too much, and they're just pumping out quality at a ridiculous rate.
Well, and even Blumhouse, despite the fact that they have their go-to franchises and stuff, the fact that this was a number I was wondering if we were going to at least throw out before the end of the day. The fact that Ma, on a $5 million budget, has now made $32 million domestically, and that's an original film. It's not a great movie, but it's good, and it has a fantastic performance, from our lead in Octavia Spencer, and so that's there's still interest in original ideas. It's just not focused on as much in this, money-making industry that is Hollywood, where we need the familiarity. It's just so essential for the casual audience person who isn't a cinephile like us,
Well, I mean, you take Deadpool 2, which was, Ryan Reynolds' passion project, and they, for all intents and purposes, that was kind of skimped on as far as the budget. I think it was less than 50, the budget for that, right?
Let's find out.
I think that was a low budget, but that thing came out like gangbusters and was quite reserved and contained.
58.
Yeah, and I think it tripled that on opening weekend, where it seems like they just seem to be going for home runs and going for broke, where they're dumping $200 million and doing $100 million in reshots. Like, how about you put together a nice $15 million movie and really go for it. Put somebody who's really invested in the project. I mean, Get Out was made for how much? And that I think more than 10 times made its money back. And again, it seems to be these horror movies that, they're really running away with it. Although I wouldn't say Ma is a horror movie as much as
it's more drama, like with some thriller aspects.
Yeah, thriller, revenge type. That might have been a spoiler.
Get Out's budget was 4.5, and its opening weekend was 33.
Who was 4.5?
Get Out.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and worldwide 255.
Yeah.
My God.
Good for A24, man. Let's keep doing
no wonder
what you're
he's
doing.
the new name of horror, right?
Get Out.
Twilight Zone and all the other stuff. And I've heard that Twilight Zone episode, the final meta one with him and Seth Rogen, is really, really good. I haven't watched it yet. But
I'll have to check that out.
Get Out was Universal and Blumhouse, but still, they made 52 times what they put into the damn thing. That's better than roulette numbers. So I think they really need to start, calming down with trying to make these billion-dollar movies and just accept the fact that, you can make a really good movie for $50 million.
And actually, here's something interesting. So I looked up Us. Like, even that was a controversial movie that not everyone was as crazy about. I loved it, but it was a $20 million movie, and it made just about the exact same amount, $250 million, and 71 at its opening weekend. And earlier we were talking about movies that make something here but 3 times that internationally. Us made double domestically what it made internationally. And let me just get back to Get Out real quick. Sorry. Get Out, about the same. It made double here in the States what it made internationally. So there's totally money to be made at the domestic box office. You just have to be making the right movie.
Yeah. A lot of people are getting too greedy trying to you have other influences and other investors in some of these projects, Transformers, where they're trying to please one audience perhaps a bit more than the American audience, and that's great. If you're going to make Transformers for China, go ahead and do it, but don't shove it down our throats like it's the thing we need to see in July. Just. Yeah. I don't know. The landscape has just been getting so strange, and originality just seems to get buried. There's like 4 or 5 movies in the last year plus that I just feel like Annihilation. I'll sing that movie's praises till I'm purple in the face.
That's great.
El Royale was a really good movie.
I love that. Yeah.
Hotel Artemis, not brilliant, but a really good movie that just disappeared. There's all these movies that just $5-10 million budget, no sort of push, and they're out for a week. And if you saw it, hey, congratulations, because you can't find it anymore.
Yeah, and at this point, it's like discovered on a streaming service, hopefully, and that's about it. So.
Right. And,
my favorite movie of this decade of film is Snowpiercer, and I saw it because I found a random review of it for someone I like. I'm like, oh, that looks good. Found a showtime in an hour, grabbed 2 friends, went and saw it, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
Like, and I had never heard of it 3 hours before I finished watching the movie.
Yeah, so it like reserved ambition, I think, is. I mean, it is a business. That's the name of the show business. But at the same time, you can't hit home runs all the time.
Nope. You definitely, yeah. I mean, people can't afford to go to the movies that much. It's let's go video game metaphor again here. Like, every video game these days wants to be a live service, which means you don't just play whenever you want. You're supposed to log in every day. You're supposed to like buy little things to help your stuff in the game do better, and so the game has a life because or maybe there's monthly fees. That's what this live service model means. But now every game is a live service, but not everybody in the world has time to play 6 live service games on top of school, on top of work and school, on top of having a family. And so all these live service games, they're just trying to be the new World of Warcraft, are failing horribly because no one has time for them all.
And it's that mentality that made me throw down the controller, dude, because I was an avid gamer up until about 3-4 years ago. And I mean, as much as I love Zelda, and that this isn't even a game that falls into the criteria that you're mentioning, but I haven't played the Breath of the Wild or whatever, for the sheer fact that I know the amount of hours that would be dedicated and needed to fully enjoy something like that. And I'm like, if I'm able to watch the different television series and the films that I don't even have time for all of those, it's like, my God, I could even imagine if I was doing like massive online playing of stuff. Like, I still have friends that are insane with their League of Legends and things of that nature, and I'm just like, it takes over their lives completely. And with all those bonusable, purchasable stuff that you're mentioning, and with the fact that things are constantly being updated, it's just like, where's room for a relationship or a family or any of these things?
Gamers live and breathe gaming. So,
the moment that broke me on World of Warcraft years ago was when I realized I was at a place where, to get better stuff than what I needed, I had to literally log in every day in order to do a thing, in order to turn a thing into a thing. And I'm like, I'm sorry, no, you officially want too much of my time. I can't.
We want to rule your life.
Exactly. It's the Oasis before the Oasis. No.
So what I think is unfortunate about all this is, there's more theaters, more screens in the States than there ever has been. And there's stuff like AMC A-List, and their model, for those of you who don't remember MoviePass, their model is a tighter version of MoviePass, and it's actually equaled success for them.
Yeah.
Apparently, I wish I had the stat with me, but apparently an A-list member will see, you can see up to 3 movies a week, and you pay 20, I think they raised it to $25 a month. So essentially you can watch 12 movies a month for $25.
In any format too, dude. So you can go see your 3D, your IMAX or whatever, and those tickets can be like 12, 14 a piece each time. So
it's 20 in LA.
Yeah, if I don't have press for it and I want to see a movie, I save so much money with A-List. And I used to have MoviePass, and I dumped it because they kept, like tightening the constraints and not offering all these different theaters I used to be able to go to, and it sucked in the end. So
So what I read was, I wish I had the exact number. Maybe I'll get it next week. Is the fact that these A-List members, myself included, are 200 times more likely to spend money on concession, and concession numbers have improved with A-List members just outright, where like that's, as somebody who's been on the theater side of things, all they care about is the food, and they've got this service that they've got people, whatever you think about A-List and what it does for ticket prices, this, that, the other, the fact that they're making money with concessions, really, you got them in the door, they're buying food. Why not take 2 of those 20 screens and show something like Annihilation, Good Time, or El Royale? Like there's, at this stage, there's enough math and statistics behind A-List. It's been out about a year now. That you're making your money where you want it. Why not give people a reason to go there?
True.
Yeah, and when they're spending $6 on
agree.
a soda, for God's sake, it's like,
Yeah,
come on, man.
Well, there's actually an irony to what you said, CP, because AMC does do these like cool older screenings of like older movies or like foreign films and stuff like that. They did like the Dragon Ball Z movie a few months ago that made all that money.
Those are Fathom events, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you can't use AMC A-list for those Fathom events. So you can only use in its current incarnation. You can only use AMC A-list for somewhat mainstream movies.
Yeah, Fathom Events is a different entity that is rented out these theaters to do these things, and it's a bit of a scratch my back, I scratch yours thing. Fathom is renting out the theater to do that, so the AMC makes their money regardless if you go to see the movie or not, and AMC makes the concession money, so it's kind of a win-win for the theaters that are hosting these Fathom events. Although,
but it's weird that you can't use the A-list for it. Like, especially if they're just making the money off the rental. Like,
well, it's the same as with it's the same as with Fandango though too. Where Fandango has done those early screenings like 2 weeks in advance, you can't use your A-list for that stuff either. So no.
Studios got the theaters monopolized. I mean, they get their stuff in there, and
they're trying to wiggle out of that too. Like Warner is just fed up with the whole Disney having a movie every 4 days, it sees, and they're trying to get out of that deal where you have to wait 90 days to put something on home media, where Warner's just like, why even release some of this stuff to the theaters? Otherwise, we how about this? If you won't let us get out of this 90-day deal, we'll just go straight to VOD. And it seems like we're getting closer to that because of the monopoly that Disney has become. So it's interesting to see. I mean, shit, if you get the next Batman day one on home release, how many people would rather just watch that thing at home?
Everyone. Most people.
And I mean, especially with the fact that we have these amazing 4K TVs and sound systems and everything. And even though there is something to the theater experience, being there with 5, 6 of your friends or whatever at your house, everybody, I mean, say you spend $20 on it, and you stream it and everybody gets together, you're saving money significantly, in that sense. So,
and CP, when you worked in movie theaters, because when a new movie comes to a theater, you preview it. The people that work at the theater, they watch the movie to make sure there's nothing wrong with it.
Yep.
Did Disney do that back when you worked in the movie theaters?
Yes.
They don't do it anymore.
No, that's false. The theaters aren't telling you that.
No, my brother works for a movie theater in Portland, and Disney movies are not allowed to be previewed before opening night.
That was that for fear of bootlegging and stuff like that, I would imagine. And
I guess, yeah. Maybe it's small because it is a smaller chain. It's like only like a 7 theater chain, something like that. So maybe that's got something to do with it. But no one at that theater sees Disney movies before opening night.
I'll ask because I remember when I left, it was still film and they were doing the film digital turnover, and the first thing the first thing they were talking about was, well, now that it's a hard drive, we don't have to worry about running the print. But apparently that was just a false worry. And I still I still have friends that kind of work at the place, so I'll ask him, because he did tell me that they do test runs of movies. He hasn't told me which day because he knows I'll ask him to go. But I'll ask him if that's a fact, because I know that was to help everybody, because if you've got Avengers coming in on a hard drive and you're expecting $20 million that weekend, and it's all hinging on the quality and whatever of that print, and it doesn't and if it doesn't work on day one, you're going to want to get in front of that.
Yeah. You're effing the A if you don't get a chance to see that beforehand.
And these externals get compromised all the damn time, as I've experienced myself. So, I mean, it's like, come on.
So Paul in Australia, who currently works at a movie theater, is in the YouTube chat. Paul, do they let
Paul.
you? Well, this is Australia, and Disney's not that big a deal over there. Paul, do you get to test run Disney prior to release date? There's a delay, so there's that.
Yeah, it'll take a second. He's probably also got to type it out, maybe. But this will be interesting.
Right.
Again, it is like a small chain in Oregon, So I mean, who knows? Maybe that's a factor. But that fascinated me when I heard that. Like, because Disney, like I remember, like when Last Jedi came out, they were like, okay, if you want to run Last Jedi, you need to run it for a full month on your biggest screen, and we get more percentage of the ticket than we normally do.
Yeah, Disney was a little strong-army about their Star Wars stuff. It was kind of interesting.
And that was at the Hollywood Bowl. Didn't we discuss this on like one of the earlier episodes that I was on here? Yeah.
I remember how angry Tarantino got about that. That was especially because Hateful Eight was so good too. It was Hateful Eight, right?
I think it was Hateful Eight. Yeah, it was either Hateful or Django, but probably Hateful.
That's right. Yeah, because it was Hateful Eight because it was Force Awakens, not Last Jedi.
Right. X-Men 1996 in the YouTube chat says they'd make a profit if the food was cheaper. That's yes, and the food could be cheaper, but that is how the theaters make their money. If you think about it, the amount of electricity they're putting out, you're overpaying for stuff. I get it. As somebody who has a popper in my house, I can get. I legitimately have a theater grade popper. I can get a year's worth of popcorn for $20. And that's a year's worth of popcorn. But these people got to power their lights. They got to feed their employees, pay their employees.
Insurance, liability, all that stuff.
Yeah, the thing that they're counting when they count and sell stuff are the cups, and the boxes, because everything else is for waste. Like how do you measure how much soda you sold? How much do you spill? How many popcorn kernels don't pop? Like it's just They have to overcharge. I don't know how else to put it. It's not
it's any sporting event you go to, the food's overcharged. You go to a theme park,
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah. Sporting events, especially when you're spending $12 on a beer and you got, tub of popcorn, $7, $8, hot dog for $6. It's like, come on, man.
Okay, so Paul in Australia again, mind you, he's in Australia. Supervisors and managers do preview the films to see if they work and whatnot, but Lindsay's right. Disney bullies to cinema chains where independent cinema and mainstream films don't do as well. Disney forces us to play their films on our larger screen, and we only sell a quarter of the cinema.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that, because then there's a new movie that's coming in and that's filling up and you have to turn people away because it's in a smaller theater with less seats because you're stuck with the Disney thing in the big theater.
Yeah, I watched Brightburn whenever that came out in the smallest building, the smallest theater in the house, and I was like, wow, this is opening night for this thing. This is kind of
that's
strange.
funny.
So we're about a full show and a half. We might as well wrap it up here.
This has been a good one. We got a little heated early on, but this is a good time. This is a good episode, I think.
Do we have plans on seeing anything this weekend?
Your mom, and probably Men in Black.
For somebody who has respect for women, Lindsay, I know.
I think it's always throwing out these mom.
Yeah.
See, the thing about moms are they're not women, okay? They're moms.
Yeah. They are baby.
They're baby makers.
You guys are bringing out the worst in me. This show is ruining me.
Whatever, hypocrite, whatever. It's fine. I get it. Brie Larson, you want to protect her, but my mom, fair game.
When your mom is a glass castle, I will defend your mom, okay?
As if I haven't quoted South Park enough on this, but, on the Pip episode where he's like, them's those things that got vaginas in them, right?
Yeah, I remember that,
Pip. Great expectations, that's right. Yeah. Hello, I'm a British person. It's Malcolm McDowell.
That's one of my favorite episodes ever, just because I'm a British person.
Yeah.
Dino.
Yeah.
You watching anything this weekend?
I'll try to get out to see Men in Black just for the show, but we'll see.
Right.
Maybe Secret Life of Pets too.
We talked nothing about that movie.
Right. Just because
the first one was so just forgettably meh. It's just like so much Illumination stuff really is. They are very much like even below. The people who do How to Train Your Dragon and those is that Universal
DreamWorks.
or is that DreamWorks? Yeah, DreamWorks.
Yeah.
So yeah, DreamWorks is even ahead of the Illumination stuff. They're like the third tier of the family-friendly animated stuff. So
the thing that I thought was interesting was the fact that they got Patton Oswalt to play the lead. Patton Oswalt, of course, is the voice.
Step in for.
Yeah, Patton Oswalt is of course the voice of the rat in Ratatouille.
Ratatouille.
Oh,
yeah,
that's right.
Pixar.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh. I wonder if he's going to get back for Ratatouille too. Ratatouille.
Waiting for that one.
I must say, I'm not super stoked for Toy Story 4, guys. And it looks just kind of, looks okay.
And here I was trying to scramble to get free passes. So
I had no hope for Toy Story 3, and Toy Story 3 ripped my heart out, and I loved it.
Wonderful. It's so good.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they can get that, if they can pull that off twice. It's going to be interesting. It's Pixar, so I always hold out hope, even though lately they've had a few flops. But we'll see. But I agree, I'm not super excited.
Yeah, same here.
Lindsay.
But this week I'm trying to see Booksmart. Me and a couple friends have been trying to see it for a couple days, so trying to squeeze that in finally.
Fun.
I know, way behind. I'm assuming I'm going to love it. It just looks it looks like a modern day Superbad. What's not to love?
I think you will.
Do a Booksmart and Ma doubleheader, because that girl in both.
The girl's in both.
Oh, that's right. Oh yeah, I'll definitely try to see both then. Just for that.
Thoughts about that young lady. It's not correct.
But then definitely Men in Black 2, and also a recommendation. Anyone that's got Amazon Prime, Good Omens. I finished it. It's really, 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 really good.
We don't talk about shows on show business.
It's a recommendation. It's an Amazon series. It's quite good. If you're a David Tennant fan, you really have to see it. But it's worth checking out. But that's all I got.
I was pissed about the Swamp Thing cancellation.
That's right.
Because the pilot was great.
I forgot about that. Oh, that was kooky.
Fuego, you got plans this weekend?
Yeah, so tomorrow evening we have press for Men in Black International. Shaft I'll probably see Thursday, and then beyond that, it's actually going to be a weekend of more reading than watching, I would say, because I got to start my Stephen King Mr. Mercedes reread for the horror show, because that's the book of the month, and boring people putting their heads into written works. So
I know, Fuego, you said you saw it already, but either Dino or Lindsay, no plans on Dead Don't Die. I don't know how limited it's going to be, but if it's out, we taking a pass on that.
I'll probably go see it if I can. If there's a friend like with Booksmart, I got a friend that I've been talking about seeing that with. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
I'm in LA, so there'll be a screening nearby me somewhere. I should probably just go see it.
I need some thoughts from you guys. If you
I want to see that. Yeah. If it's fair. Close by here, I know it's limited. That's one I definitely want to see. I'd see that before Men in Black. But even though you said it's a crapper, Fuego, I still got to give it a shot. So
no, and please do, man. Film is subjective, obviously, and make up your own mind.
Art is subjective. All of it is
right.
Subjective.
Truly, any sort of creativity, music, film, whatever. So,
Dina, what do you got coming up on the Late Horror Show?
Stuff.
Ooh, stuff.
Those things did involve stuff.
I like stuff.
Should we tune in tomorrow, maybe?
The stuff.
You
Is
should.
It stuff o'clock?
There's going to be something.
There better be.
Up tomorrow on the Late Horror Show. Very interesting. Brie Larson.
Yay!
Oh God! What are you watching?
Well, to
sales.
Get the home end of things. Captain Marvel does come out tomorrow on Blu-ray.
Oh,
inexplicably.
Oh, it does.
Inexplicably, Captain Marvel comes out tomorrow.
Wait, should it not? Like, when should it get released?
No. It's just that's a coincidence.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I was like, wait, what's inexplicable? It's a movie that gets released on video. I understand. Yeah. I am with you.
What's the correlation here?
A tease.
Completely divorced of what Dino was talking about.
Cut out Honest Trailers business there, Dino. Go for it, man. Get it.
Lindsay, what do we got? Anything?
We'll see. I got something stewing. We'll see what happens.
Okay. And Fuego, you kind of gave us what you got coming up. Right.
Yeah, so there's going to be Men in Black International review. I'm not sure if that's going to be on the horror show. I would imagine as much, since it has like alien creature, whatever stuff. That's like usually borderline up for Cecil to dictate. And then yes, there will be a Shaft review, and then I think I'm doing some more Star Wars comic reviews for Age of Republic. They just put out their villains and their heroes, just like trade paperbacks, and I picked those up recently. So
Awesome. There'll be some sort of stream on this channel. Emily and I just watched Maximum Overdrive last night. If you want to watch along with us, that's on the channel. On the YouTube channel. YouTube channels, and Fuegotainment, the horror show to catch Fuego, the Late Late Horror Show to catch Dino, My 2 Cents of Nonsense to catch Lindsay.
That's me.
Every Monday night, if you're listening, it's the Willis Greta channel, youtube.com/C/WILI. Yeah, so that's where you catch this Maximum Overdrive commentary. It might be a little light this week, might be a stream or two. But next week, I think show business might be a little heavy on guests because it's a pretty big week coming for so many different circles that we're in. Toy Story 4 is just ginormous. Child's Play is kind of a big deal, especially in horror circles. And I think there's another film that comes out that day that is worth talking about. As much as you can tell that I've forgotten it.
Anna comes out, which is that espionage type of spy thriller type thingy.
Oh, yeah, maybe that's what it was.
And then Annabelle.
Yeah.
I was going to say, is
that?
it yesterday? Yesterday, the Beatles movie? I'm trying to remember.
I think yesterday's the
it is,
last week of June. There's 3 weeks of doll movies in a row. It's Child's Play, Annabelle, and then The Boy 2. All 3 weeks in succession.
Whoa, The Boy 2?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, my God, what were they thinking?
Get ready for that.
Wait, spoilers. The Boy.
I love Katie Holmes.
Yeah.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
But the dude dies, and we know that the boy is just a dude that lives in the walls, and it's not a doll anymore. How are you making the boy 2?
It doesn't matter.
Dark Phoenix already was Dark Phoenix at the end of Apocalypse, sir. What's your point?
Okay, yeah, you're right. Okay, fair enough.
The world can blow up in a movie, and they'll still bring it back.
Especially in horror, yeah.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah,
Right,
thank you.
Yeah, so thanks to everybody in the YouTube chat. Quite lively. Thanks to the super chats. Lindsay won't say their names, but thank you so much. And we'll see it. There is no after hours tonight. We're still figuring out what the hell that's going to be. So you had an extra long edition of Show Business Proper for Lindsay, Dino, and Fuego IMCP.